Another frustrating performance, another loss. That's 2 losses on the bounce as Galatasaray beat us 1-0. Where do we even start with this one? We're going to talk about how Mo was dropped, how Konate once again looked like his mind was elsewhere, how actually many of the players were lacking any real focus and bite to their play, how our passing seems to be absolutely in the mud, and how Florian Wirtz continues to be everywhere on the pitch, but also nowhere at the same time. I'm Lawrence on Liverpool, a tiny Liverpool fan channel. Please do support me with a subscribe and joining in on the comments below. Let's talk about the lineup first, okay? Mo Salah gets dropped. Now, I know his performances have not been great, but he's not been the problem himself, in my opinion. I've said this in previous videos, including our loss to Crystal Palace. We are not finding him enough. He is too marginalized, too wide on the pitch, and he doesn't seem to be involved. The new boys, Florian Wirtz, Ekitike, Isak, don't seem to be looking for him to feed him passes. We know if he gets the right delivery, if he gets the right service, he is one of the most deadly attackers on the planet. We are not doing him justice. Now, I know he's also losing the ball a fair bit. Some of his passes are right, but that's nothing compared to the rest of the team. It's the same all over the pitch. So let's not single him out for that. But we're not playing to his strengths. And then Slot goes and takes him off saying he's played too many minutes. Mo Salah can play every single minute of every season. We know that. He's incredibly fit. I think that was a little bit of a smokescreen from Arne Slot. Either way, who goes in this place? Frimpong. Now, I saw Frimpong play right wing in preseason. He looked pretty good, pretty direct. Apparently, he plays there for the national team all the time. Why not? Why not? If you are going to take Mo Salah off, why not try Frimpong there? And there were a couple of moments where he was very direct and attacking. We'll talk about that later in the video. And then he put Szoboszlai in the right back spot. Is that a commentary on Frimpong's defensive abilities? Why did Bradley not start? Is it because Bradley's not up to full fitness? Either way, Szoboszlai's done brilliant in right back so far this season. This was not good, though. He was exposed by Yilmaz's pace several times, leading to the goal. We'll talk about that as well in a minute. And elsewhere, once again, our midfield three of last season that was so solid was not in existence. One, because Szoboszlai was playing right back, but even if he wasn't, because Slot is putting Florian Wirtz in that midfield three as a number 10, sort of how Szoboszlai played, but with a lot more freedom and a lot more just go wherever you want on the pitch. And that's breaking the balance of the squad, breaking the balance of the team. We do not look solid at any stretch of the imagination. This was all fine while we were getting wins and we were getting the 3 points, but the warning signs were there. And we kept saying, oh, it feels a bit lucky to get these wins. It doesn't feel like we really deserve these wins because we're kind of just edging them with late goals. Mentality monsters never say die. That's brilliant and everything. But should we really be in these situations against all these teams? Newcastle battered us in terms of performance, and they only had 10 men for a large stretch of the match, especially when they didn't have a cutting edge with Isak or their new strikers in place at the time. Let's talk about some overall situations and then we'll break it down into some individual performances. One of the things that bothered me throughout the whole match was the inability to string accurate passes together. There were so many wayward passes. Even McAllister, who is so tidy and neat with his passing, gave away one completely inexplicable pass to their player. It wasn't going anywhere near one of our players. We had Konate also trying a pass to Van Dijk that was so short and so off target. It was almost like a perfect layoff for one of the Galatasaray players to run onto in a counter-attack. We had Florian Wirtz doing a beautiful bit of skill with a backheel pass in the penalty area to their player when there was no Liverpool player behind him at all. Who was he back passing to? I don't know. Our passing it's disappeared. It's like we've got lost. And it's almost like players are expecting Liverpool teammates to be in certain places and they're not there. You know, when you build up that expectation, it's almost like working on autopilot. You're expecting a player to be there. I'll pass into that spot. There's no one there. And so we're just giving up passes all over the pitch. And yeah, Mo Salah's done that a bit the last few games as well. And you can say maybe that's why he's been dropped. So many other players have done that too. Our passing has absolutely deserted us. What is the reason? I think it's because too many new players, too much of a change to the system. We don't know where each other's going to be, and we're just passing into spaces rather than two players. And that's a symptom of the overall issue, is that we're missing clear patterns of play. We're missing a clear style of play. And if you were to say, what is the formation? I'm actually not 100% sure, because whilst on paper it's very easy to say, well, it's the same 4-3-3, but instead of Szoboszlai, it's Wirtz, and he's just a little bit more advanced. So is it a 4-2-3-1? But then the two with Gravenberch and McAllister are not level, because McAllister plays a little bit ahead. So it's a lopsided double pivot where Gravenberch stays deeper. But then if you're talking about a band of three attackers behind the main striker, that's not quite working that way either too, because Ekitike or Isak drifting so much to the left or dropping deep so much. Florian Wirtz is going wherever he wants on the pitch. He's been given absolute license to roam anywhere he wants, but that means he's never actually anywhere useful. He's getting advanced a bit, but he's not doing anything useful with it. Players don't know how to find him regularly, and he's not in a position where he can build relationships with different players. If there's one player he seems to be connecting well with, it's Isak. He played a great lobbed through ball to Isak at one point. He ran onto it. Bit of a scuff shot came off his shin as the ball bobbled or bounced about. And that was it, really. And so Florian Wirtz is all over the place. Frimpong held the right-hand flank. Gakpo was moving around a bit. When Salah came on, I don't know, through instruction, through frustration himself, he just moved centrally. He didn't want to be on the right wing at all, which is a good thing. But once again, we weren't finding him. And by that point, Galatasaray had set up a deep low block, and chances were hard to come by. And that's the thing, when you give up a goal so early, a team can just set up a deep block, and we struggle with that. We struggle to create chances against teams who are sitting back. Back onto this Florian Wirtz thing. Last season, Slot took Jurgen Klopp's team and just made it more pragmatic, made it more solid, made it a little bit less reckless in the transition, less end-to-end, and made us a bit more patient, which worked fine because we had a nice solid base. And that midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai all worked really hard in harmony, very close to each other, to compact that lower midfield space. With then Szoboszlai breaking forward at times, McAllister pushing forward at times when the opportunities arose. Now we have Florian Wirtz, who's always pushing forward. He does come deep, but when he comes deep, he's not coming deep to protect the team by working in a solid unit with McAllister and Gravenberch. He's more coming deep because he just wants to get the ball to try and listen. He's a very creative player. You can see that. And he's got excellent touch, excellent dribbling. He does seem to have decent vision with certain players, but I want a bit more power, a bit more strength, a bit more solidity, a bit more of a rock there. Szoboszlai was that. Should we be bringing Szoboszlai back into that midfield, letting Wirtz be a sub player for a few games, just to re-engineer a bit of that solidity in the Liverpool team? Have Bradley, I think, who's a better defender than Frimpong, in right back, and just sit back a little bit and be a bit more patient and work on possession a bit more. Not just possession for possession's sake once the opposition has put a low block, but possession where we are stringing lots of good passing together and figuring out our triangles and remembering where players are and building up an awareness of players where players should be moving to. That telepathy between players that's deserted us. Let's bring that back by making things simple again. We seem to have changed too much of the formation, too much of the strategy. It seems to have got too complicated. And when you're doing that with a whole bunch of new players in, like let's bring Robertson back in for Kirkheads for a few matches. When there's too many players, new players in the team, and they don't all know each other, you get what we've had this season so far, which is a lack of understanding. And we've really only kept winning games because one, we've got a group of players that never say die. It hasn't worked out the last 2 matches, but they still kept trying. And you also have some superstars that will do some magical things. But you can't rely on that season long. You need to have workmanlike security and reliability. Back on Konate, he continues to look like he's practicing his Spanish in his head, like he's running through last night's Duolingo lessons. He's going to Real Madrid, we know that. I don't want to say he's unprofessional in that he's not trying, because I think he's trying. I think he's just lost a bit of desperation to perform well because he knows he's already leaving at the end of the season. This is all just random speculation, no proof of that at all. But that's how it feels. It feels like he's not hyper-focused enough. Every match, there are wayward passes. Every single match, he's losing a runner because he's not even aware, like thinking that they're there, and then they've run past him and it's gone. It's just happening too often with Konate, and it wasn't happening anywhere near as much last season. So something's changed in his mentality, in his mindset. That's all I can put it down to. It's a psychological thing. And so what the events of the game? Well, we went down early, 1-0 to a penalty. Yilmaz, right with their left wing, broke through, good pace. Even Szoboszlai couldn't catch up with him, and Szoboszlai is not slow. He's a fast player. Yilmaz turns him. Well done to Yilmaz. And Szoboszlai kind of just reaches out with his hand. I don't think it was a proper slap, but it was enough to make contact, and the player went down, and it was a penalty. By the rule of the book, it's a penalty, even if it was maybe a little bit soft. Osimhen puts it away. Now we're 1-0 down. The rest of the first half, still had this kind of end-to-end feel, but in the second half, they shut up shop and it became very, very difficult for us. Especially when that Galatasaray ground is such a horrible place. What a cauldron. What a nasty, nasty ground to go to. The crowd constantly booing and whistling and jeering. The noise through the screen was really off-putting. I wonder what that's like to play in. I know they're professional footballers and they play to the best of their ability in any situation, but it's got to rock you a little bit when the crowd is so at you all the time. Apparently, some Galatasaray fans even let off fireworks outside the hotel at random points during the night to try and ruin Liverpool players' sleep. And maybe they succeeded, because it did look like we were a little bit of a fog in our mental thinking throughout the game, like they had broken sleep, hadn't slept too well. So maybe that worked, but nasty, nasty experience for any away team to go to that Galatasaray ground and try and play their best football. Chelsea on the weekend, when they don't get a red card, they're a handful of a team. So that's not looking great for us. But if we can go back to how we played last season, please, just for one match, put Szoboszlai in the midfield. Have Gravenberch sit deep. Have McAllister and Szoboszlai stay back for prolonged periods just to control it. Make everyone look for Mo Salah, like we were doing. Have Bradley on the right, feeding balls, but also doing some overlapping runs to take some pressure off of Mo Salah. I think we need to get back to what worked for us last season, what helped us dominate and control games last season. Because right now, we don't look like we're in control at any point. We're always looking fragile and susceptible to the counter. We're never looking like we have full, clear ideas of how to attack. The movement's not there, the understanding's not there, the passing and through balls are definitely not there, consistently at least, and we're struggling. So let's bring it back, get simple, and just control some games. If we win a game 1-0, that's fine. It's like we've gone back to the worst parts of Jurgen Klopp. I love Jurgen Klopp. It's one of my all-time heroes. And he made us an amazing, exciting team to watch. But when Jurgen Klopp's heavy metal football didn't work, and there would be odd games every now and then, and also in the first 2 years, we suffered a bit. It was because it was just end-to-end, fast-paced, relying on Van Dijk's brilliance and Alisson as being the best goalkeeper in the world to bail us out of counter-attacks and just trying to outscore teams. And when it worked, it was beautiful and exhilarating and fun and thrilling. When it didn't, we would get exposed. It's a little bit like that now. Why have we regressed to that style of football, to the worst versions of that style of football? Let's now go back to what Slot did brilliantly last season, which was take Jurgen Klopp's team and style of play over recent seasons and just make it a bit more solid, a bit more pragmatic. That's all that was needed. We were great. We were brilliant last season. We didn't need so many changes. I know you need to buy new players because you're planning for the next 5 years. I get that. But a change doesn't have to be so brutal and so instant where you are bedding in all the new players and you're changing the formation and the strategy and everyone's got new instruction. It doesn't need to all happen within the first few weeks of a season. It can happen over the course of the next 2 years or next year at least. I think it's been too much, too quick, too soon. And then let's finish off on Alisson getting injured. That was due to Konate's poor back pass to Van Dijk that led the Galatasaray player to snatch it. He then ends up in a one-on-one with Alisson. Alisson's running back, tweaks something, not sure what it is. He's definitely not playing the game against Chelsea. Mamardashvili, who looked fairly solid when he came on, didn't have too much to do though, will be our goalie against Chelsea. Another change, another lack of understanding. Van Dijk and Konate is not going to have the understanding with Mamardashvili that they have with Alisson. Once again, the more lack of understanding you have between players, the more likely mistakes can be made and holes appear for the opposition to take advantage of. Fingers crossed that match will go a little bit better than the last two. I'll be watching that and doing another video like this straight after it. In the meantime, if you want to leave your thoughts in the comments below, I'd appreciate that. Give this video a like and subscribe. And if you've been watching me for a while, do consider joining as a member where you get a little highlight every time you leave a comment and I'll give you some shout outs and we can interact a little bit more that way. That just helps me because I don't earn any money from this channel. So take care. I appreciate how you're supporting me. I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.